Mhm. We are live. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening. Good
It's
evening,
good to
everybody.
have you. Welcome,
It's good to be
sister.
here.
I'm happy you. Thank you for honoring my invitation. It's good to have you, sister Ozioma
Pleasure.
Anioji.
Yes. it's
Did I
it's a
pronounce your
pleasure
surname
to be
well?
here. Yes, you tried. I mean, you tried more than most people. So it's thumbs up.
I
Yeah.
should not be
It's
trying. I'm an Igbo guy. I should get it correctly.
well, I don't know. Some people just, So let me give you credit for at least trying now, Abby. Yeah, but you got it actually. It's Anioji, so you got it. It's Anioji.
All right. So welcome to the IC African podcast. The IC Africa simply means deep inside conversation with Ume Collins Ebube. But now that I have you as my guest, it's not about me anymore. It's about you and others.
Oh,
Welcome,
wow.
welcome. Thank you for
Thank
showing up to my
you.
show. Thank
Thank you
you,
for
ma'am.
having me. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me. I am honored to be here. I don't take the invitation lightly, right? So you had options and you called on me. So it's an honor to be here and thank you for having me.
okay, today what we're doing here is to tell us, teach us about podcasting with a difference, how to launch and monetize your podcast. I know what I've been doing here for a while has been podcast, even when I never knew it was called podcast. So I started like show because I admire Steve Harvey. So when he said I'll be on TV he said when he will be on TV when he was 10. So the teacher said, you can't, you that stutter, you that can't even talk. How would you say you will be
Yeah.
on TV? You this boy. But now his lifestyle is on TV. Every day is there from one show to the other. And
Mm.
when I saw that, I was like, I'm inspired. Then I also be on TV and I make a story my story. And now I said I'll have my own TV station. Before you know now, we have Ume Collins with the TV. I have about 500 and
Mm-hmm.
something subscribers on YouTube and over 3,000 and something viewers on YouTube.
Wow.
I have about 3K followers on my page on Facebook. When it comes to my profile,
Mm.
I have about 5,000 followers. When it comes to one of my accounts, go to my other account, I have about 5 K followers. Now I'm living that dream. People now know me as a presenter.
Wow.
So we are doing that here.
And you're growing, really.
I'm
You're
growing big
growing.
time. So it's by the grace because I'm hungry to do more. I'm
True.
obsessed with winning. So thank you. So
Good.
today, many have been doing this, or people have good voice. They don't know how to start, that's to launch and monetize their podcast. Some are already doing it. They are not visible. They are hidden.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your coming here is to make us come out, launch, first step before think of monetizing it.
Of
So
course.
the stage is slow. But before you start, you have to tell us who is Sister Ozioma Anioji so that we'll
Oh,
get to know it because YouTube have about 1 point something billion downloads.
people.
And anybody can come across this video.
Yeah.
The algorithm can refer this video or just suggest it to anybody. But when you'll be teaching it, like, who is this woman? I want to know her. So that's why it's important to introduce yourself so that our audience will get to know you.
Okay. All right, everyone. My name is Ozioma Anioji. And like Colin said, I am a podcaster. I love podcasting, really. So my name is Ozioma Anioji. For the virtue of what we are talking about today, I'm going to restrict my intro to what I do as a podcaster, right? So I am a podcaster. I host a show called Rooted and Robust Podcast. So it's a weekly youth-oriented show that is directed at young people's personal and career development. So basically what I talk about majorly on the show is personal and career development of young people. So I bring experts and thought leaders that are specialized in these fields and they come on, they share with my audience. And my podcast has really grown and is growing. Currently, we have listeners from over 56 countries of the world. And so I started podcasting in 2021. And so this is my second year, and it's been amazing, really. So I love talking about podcasts because I know it is one thing that positions you globally. um, and of course that is what's part of what I'm going to talk about today, right? So but that is, I love talking about it. I love sharing my knowledge in this field. So it's exciting for me that we are talking about podcasting today. So I am also a writer. I have a book on sale called The Most Important Day, and it's basically charging people to take responsibility of their lives, right? So that's what the book is about. So I wear a lot of caps, right? So, but today I think this is enough because we're talking about podcasts. So I think this is just me, really. So yeah,
All right. All right. Thank you. So now let's get started. Podcasting with a difference. How to launch and monetize your podcast. You know,
yeah,
I never knew I had a fantastic voice. I never knew my voice could be monetized. I never knew my voice is something because the other time when I started, I loved listening to my voice. I was like, oh, this voice is awkward. What is this? Why am I sounding like this?
yeah.
What
I
I
think it
realized is
happens
that
to
there's
every one of
nobody
us. It happens to
really.
all of us. The first time you hear your voice, the first time I heard my
Yeah.
voice, I felt like I was a frog. Like I didn't swallow frog. Why am I sounding like this? Like what's going on? It happens to all of us. So the first time you hear your
So
voice is horrible. And that's why I always tell
I'm
new
like,
podcasters, don't scream because the first time you hear yourself talk, you'll be amazed at the way you sound.
ah,
Like so
and guess what? I
yeah.
never wanted to sound like me. I wanted to sound like people I see as role model. So I'll go and record myself. I'll be talking like Steve Harvey. Do you know that? Ah, if you have a dream, write your vision down. I'll be talking like him. And guess what? I'll go back and hear my voice. It will still not be
It's
authentic
horrible.
like Steve Harvey. And I'll be like,
True.
what's
It
this?
can't be Steve
That
Harvey
shows that
because
I
you're not
am
Steve
not Steve
Harvey.
Harvey. I am
Yeah.
different. I am unique. I am Ume Collins. It will be. I have to be me. So I never knew we have to be different. So that's why we are doing
Mm,
podcasting with a difference. So yeah, you
different.
have to tell us. So get started.
Yeah.
Thank you. You have the stage.
All right. Okay, first of all, thank you again, Collins, for having me. So today I want to talk about podcasting with a difference. And it's so amazing that that word, a difference, is there because just like you just mentioned, a lot of us want to sound like the people we look up to. And it's the reason why there are so many copies and just very few originals out there. There are just very few unique people out there, and there are so many people trying to copy so many people, right? So, but today, first of all, let's start with why podcast in the first place? Why a podcast? Why not a YouTube video? Why not write a book? Why not just start a blog? Why not just do reels, right? So there are so many ways to share content online. So why podcast? Why do you have to start a podcast? Okay, so there are so many reasons why I feel podcasting is something every content creator should look into, right? The first thing is that podcast allows you to share your passion and expertise with the world. And I am very particular about when I say the world, because take for instance, I have never been to a lot of countries, but my voice have been heard in 56 countries and counting. And that is because I have a podcast. So you can imagine that. So imagine every week someone in Europe, America, Canada, name it, a lot of
Wow.
Russia,
Wow.
Ukraine, all of these countries,
Now
someone
your
there
voice is
is hearing
traveling.
my voice. Exactly. So that is
It's
what podcast
traveling.
allows you to do. And one of the reasons why I'm going to share why that is possible as we go on, but that is why podcast is something that if you have a message and you feel like this message can be heard and it can bless people beyond my circle of influence, then podcasting is one medium you should think of, right? That's one. Now, another thing is you could build a community around what you talk about. For instance, if you talk about maybe your podcast is centered around football, for instance, or let me even say around health. Maybe your podcast is on wellness and fitness. You could build a community around what you talk about. So while your podcast is traveling, you're also building a community, right? So that's one. Then another thing is you can monetize it. All right. So if you're looking for an avenue to add in a few bucks, podcast helps you do that. Now, there is one thing that is amazing that I always talk about whenever I'm talking about podcasting is the fact that a lot of people are shy, right? Facing the camera, they want to share. They have a message they want to share, but they are shy, and it's breaking that is something you do gradually. So, but while you are trying to break free from shyness, you can start a podcast. You don't even need to show your face. It's just your voice. So people can hear you. They don't necessarily need to see you. So if you have a message and you don't have all the gadgets to start a YouTube and have a fine YouTube channel with all the backgrounds and lights and camera, podcast is your best bet. So you can reach the world and you are not even showing your face. So that is one of the or some of the many reasons why starting a podcast is something you should consider. But it's one thing to want to podcast. Another thing is, why do you want to podcast? So I've talked about why you should consider podcasting. But now that you have talked about podcasting, so what message do you now want to share with the world? So that will bring me to defining your niche, right? So if you want to start a podcast or you want to start anything, in fact, not just podcasting, you had a conference recently called Reinvention. You had a message you wanted to pass with that conference. So the speakers you brought on, the topics you gave them, everything that conference did was to ignite that message in people. So if you want to start a podcast, what message do you want to pass across? So are you, for instance, and that message will also help in you choosing a name. Okay, so your podcast has a name, and that name that you chose is because of the message you want to pass. So if I want a podcast that talks on health, for instance, I will not, my name will not be maybe what's this football Manchester United podcast when I'm talking about health. So your niche actually helps you define not just your message, but also your name. Because name is something that is actually very important when you talk about podcasting. Okay. So because people will need to be able to relate with the name that you answer as a podcast channel. So for instance, my podcast is Rooted and Robust Podcast. Okay. So and what that podcast centers on is sharing content that inspire people, that inform, that educate people. So we want to feed you with information so that you can blossom, so you can grow. So it is rooted. We give you information that helps you grow roots so that you can flourish, so you can be robust, right? So that is what, and my niche is personal development. So everything I talk about, the people I bring on, it has to do with people that are into personal or career development. So your niche, when starting a podcast, you must choose a niche, and that is what differentiates you from everybody. All right. So if you just go in there and you're just talking, you don't have a focus, you don't have a direction. So I mean, people won't take you serious. Today you come, you talk about football. Tomorrow you come talk about health. Next tomorrow you talk about cryptocurrency. The next day you're talking about how to make money online. The next day you're talking about anything. So people won't take you seriously. But if you are streamlined and you have a focus and you have a niche, then you can comfortably focus and build content that's deliver the message that you want. All right. So that's one. Then another thing you need to think of when starting up a podcast. So everything I'm talking about right now is before you even start your podcast. So I know my message today is how to launch and monetize, but in between that, I'm going to talk about how you can grow your podcast. Because if you don't grow, you won't be able to monetize. Okay. So now, still on how to launch, you need to, I've talked about this. Your name is important. Your name. This is what I advise people when choosing a name. Choose a name that is not too lengthy. Then choose a name that people can abbreviate and it will still make sense. So, like you can say DIC. DIC is easy. People can always remember DIC podcast. People can always remember DIC because it's easy. So don't choose a name that it will be difficult for people to even remember. So that will not help your brand. That will not help your market. Okay. So your name is very important. So choose a name that is easy to remember, a name that reflects your message somewhat. Okay. So then another thing you need to consider before you launch, we're talking about launching your podcast now. Another thing you need to consider before you launch your podcast is your podcast art cover. So when your name is not mentioned and people see your art cover, can when I mean art cover, if you go to podcast channels, the logo, or should I call it, we call it podcast art cover, artwork, but people can call it logo. Like I'm seeing StreamYard. I don't need to even see. Once I see this, I know it's StreamYard. All right. So that's something that tells, something that identifies your podcast. That is also very important because you need this when, if you want your podcast to go on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, and all of those places. So you will need an artwork. So I mean, it's easy to do that. You can always go on Canva and create an artwork, a beautiful one at that. So if you're like me, that you are not very good at design, you can either pay someone a few bucks and get it done, or you could do it yourself. I mean, you could do it yourself. Now, something else that is very important when starting a podcast is choose a podcast format. All right, choose a podcast format. Now, there are so many formats you can use when starting a podcast. You can either do a solo conversation, right? Or you can do an interview session. This is like what we are doing now. I am on your show, you are interviewing me, I came to share. That is a format you can choose. Or it could just be you. Maybe you are a medical doctor and you want to start a podcast that talks on health. It could just be you sharing your message. So you need to define your format from the word go so that people know, okay, this is what I'm expecting on this show every week. So it's not today they come, it's just you. Tomorrow they come, you have a guest. Next tomorrow they come, you have a co-host. Next time they come, that is not nice. So you need to have a format, decide on the format, and introduce that from the word go. Even if you want to change at some point, at least people know that, okay, we are moving from this format to the next. Not like it's scattered. People are not sure which format you're working with, okay? Now, that's another thing to think about. Then, when starting your podcast, it is also important that you choose a time, a day that people, because consistency is one of the things that helps you in this industry. So, if, for instance, I publish every Wednesday, I don't miss it. Anytime I don't publish, just know that I don't have an episode to publish that week. But if I have to publish any week, it has to be Wednesday. I have published every Wednesday for 2 years now, and I have remained that consistent. So people expect my content on Wednesdays. So before I even share the link, once it's Wednesday, some people already go to the channel to go and see if something is there. So that's because I have remained that consistent. So if you're consistently publishing every maybe Monday or every Tuesday, that helps you grow because people can say, okay, this person knows what he's doing. At least I know that any day I come to DIC Africa, every Sunday, I will see a new content. So that consistency helps you grow. That consistency helps you grow. So now that's before you launch. So decide on the name, decide on your niche, decide on the format, decide on all of those things. Now, before we go to hosting, I'm going to explain what hosts. Now, before I go on, there is something there is I don't know if I should call it misconception or something. When people talk about podcasts, right? So traditional podcasters, when I mean traditional, I mean those people that have been podcasting for like 10 years and all of that. For them, even though this has evolved over the years, but for them, podcast is an audio content. It is not video for them. It's an audio content that is downloadable over the internet or can be streamed. What that means is people can stream while you are live, but people can also download afterwards. All right. So that is what podcast originally is. So it's an audio content. But over the years, we've had video podcast content, but there are traditional podcasters which still believe they don't want to hear video. They believe that podcast is an audio content. And that is why platforms like Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all these things are audio streaming platforms. Okay, so just very few people do podcasts on YouTube and not this video. That's because podcast is originally known to be audio content. Originally. Okay, because I needed to say this because of the next thing I'm going to talk about, which is recording, editing, and hosting your podcast. So if you want to record your podcast, for instance, there are amazing software that can help you do that. But one of the ones I usually recommend, if you are recording on your phone, right? If you're recording on your phone, you can use an app called Audio Lab. You can go to Google Play Store and check it out, Audio Lab. It's good for phone recording. Now, the reason I will recommend that over just your normal recording, phone recording, is because you can do a little bit of edits on that, not so much, just a few edits on the app. But if you have a laptop and you want to do this on a more serious note, right? So you get a software called Audacity, right? Audacity is an open air software that helps you record and edit. That's why it's good. It helps you record and edit, but it only works on PCs. Now, if you are on maybe Mac, or then you use a software called GarageBand. So GarageBand helps you if you are on Apple products. But for most people that use Windows, then Audacity is your best bet. It's free and is a free software. So just go and get it installed in your laptop. So with that, you can record on your laptop. If it's just you, now if it's just you, like I mentioned, if it's just you recording, like solo conversation, then you can record and edit straight away. So you can record, and after recording, you can still edit on the same software. But if you are going to interview somebody, like you are interviewing me now, and you want to edit it as an audio content on Audacity, then you must look at the formats that's for instance, I'm going to use Zoom because Zoom is what I record a lot with, and Zoom is what most people record with for podcasters, right? Now, if you record on Zoom, right? If you record on Zoom, Zoom will record your audio and give you the file, the recorded file, but it doesn't give you on a format that Audacity will accept. Okay, it doesn't give you on a format that Audacity will accept. It gives you on a format called M4, MA4 or M4A, something like that. I don't remember the exact format now. So what you do is you go to a software called Cloud Convert. So it's free. Just go there. All you need to do is upload the video, the audio content that Zoom gave you. You know, the audio content that Zoom gave you. Then convert it to a format called MP3 or WAV. Okay. So when you convert it to MP3 or WAV, download it back into your system. Now you can import it into Audacity. So I know I just said a lot of things, but let me take that again so you can understand. Now, if you record on Zoom, for people that want to record, do interview, podcasts, and all of that, if you record on Zoom, now that file that Zoom gave you, upload it to Cloud Convert. All you need to do is create an account on Cloud Convert, okay? Create an account there, upload the file there. They will ask you convert to. So you convert to either MP3 or WAV file, okay? When you do that, download it back into your system, then import it into Audacity. There you can record, you can add your background music, you can add your intro, if you have an intro or outro, all those beautiful things you can do in editing. So that is how you can record and edit. Now I'm talking about host, okay? So I'm trying to do this in 30 minutes so you can have your questions. So when you talk about hosting your podcast, there are so many host platforms. Spotify for podcasters used to be called Anchor, but it's no longer called Anchor. It's now called Spotify for podcasters. So you can host there. It's a free podcast host platform. There are other ones. There is Buzzsprout. There are other host platforms for podcasts. Now, the thing is, if you want a host platform, there are paid and free platforms for hosting podcasts, right? There are paid, there are free. So it depends on your choice. For me, I use Buzzsprout, and it's a paid platform. It's $12 every month. And the reason I use paid platform is what I'm going to explain for you when we talk about monetization. So so what your host platform does for you is they also help you distribute. Okay. So when you're deciding on podcast host, make sure you are looking at the platform that has a lot of distribution channels. So some host platforms just distribute to Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, and few others. For Buzzsprout, for instance, they distribute to 19 podcast directories. So if you're hosting on Buzzsprout, for instance, once you host with them, you are sure that your podcast will appear on 19 other podcast directories. So what is the difference between a podcast directory and a podcast host platform? So a podcast directory is a place where you just listen to podcasts. For instance, if you go to Google, your Google Chrome now, and type Rooted and Robust podcast, you will see where you can listen on Google. That's Google Podcast. It's just a directory. When you go to Spotify, you can listen there. When you go to Apple, you can listen there. But you can't host on these platforms. So there are other platforms that helps you host and distribute to these directories. Okay, so that's the difference between a host and a directory. So there are so many of them. If you don't have money to start paying for a paid platform, I just advise you start with some of these platforms have free paid plan that you can start with, then grow from there. So it depends on, I mean, what your pockets can achieve. Then when you have hosted your platform, the next thing you want to start doing promotion is promotion. I mean, I don't know why you will work so hard to have a content that you are not ready to promote. It doesn't make sense to me, right? Okay, so I don't know why I'm sweating. It doesn't make sense to me. So if you have a podcast, I mean, you should scream about it. You should talk about DIC every day. You're waking up in DIC, you're sleeping, DIC. Everybody should know you're a podcaster. I don't think you can come to my Facebook page and not know that I pod. It's not possible. Like I work so hard to create this content, to look for guests, to research the topic. I work so hard. So you must hear it. You must hear the word. So that is one way to. So you must promote your podcast, promote it, shout it, scream it, tell your friends, tell them to share. Every week, I tell people, please share, oh, just share it. Let the world know something is happening. Share because it is something I know that is of value. I mean, everybody should listen to it, right? So apart from your social media handles that you can promote your podcast, this is one mistake I made when I started, and this is one mistake I hope you don't make. And that is not growing your email list from the word go. I made this mistake. I podcasted for over a year before I started growing my email list. Don't do it. From the moment you start, go to, I mean, there are how do I share this? I don't know how. I probably will share this link with you so you can share it with your audience. Is an email list building platform. Yeah, on their free plan, you can host a blog, you can host a course, you can build your email list. They have amazing funnels. You can even host a community. That's how amazing their free plan is. And you can be on the free plan forever unless maybe your list now grows to 5,000, then you can now move to the paid plan, which is still relatively cheap. But on the free plan, you can do so. On that plan, you can just begin building your email list. Now, this is what email does to you. Truthfully, Uncle Mark can wake up and say they don't want you on Facebook anymore. It happens. It has happened to a lot of people. You can grow your Facebook account and grow it and grow it and work so hard for so many years, and one day you are kicked out. Nobody will know what will happen to you. And you can't do anything about your followers. Nothing will happen. So, but when you have an email list, if you are tired of this email provider, you can move to the next with all your list. You just have to import to the next. So that's why I always encourage people, start building your email list from the word go. Every week, at least I know that every week, even if it's 200, 100, 1,000 that are on your email list, you know that every week you can send this email list your podcast episode with a beautiful caption, something of value. You can send it to them. Okay, listen to this week's podcast on this topic. So even if it's 10% or 20% of those people that listen, you are sure that you have actual human beings on your email list. And one of the good thing about email lists is people willingly give you their email list, right? So it's not like these people that buy, so people, you know that you are growing this email list and people are the ones giving you their email. So you are sure that actual human beings are on your list. And if you are giving them value every week, they will listen to your podcast. So that's one way to grow your podcast. So another thing is, I talked about community in the first place. So if you have a community, like you have a Facebook community, and every week you share something in your podcast, I mean something from your podcast, you will have actual human beings that are following your podcast. That's one way to grow your podcast. So social media, email building, community, and all of that. Now, this is another way, but is usually not advisable if you're just starting, especially if you don't have the budget. It's paid promotions. If you have the budget, scream about your podcast episode every week. If you can pay every week so that people everywhere can hear you, good. But if you don't, then these three that I have shared should be able to get you. And another thing is, make sure you, if you can, tell people to give you feedback, right? Tell people to give. There was this episode I used to do every end of the year. It's called Wrap Week. Like I used to do a wrap of the year, like wrapping my podcast. My podcast is Rooted and Robust Podcast, so is wrap for short, right? So I used to do this episode where I just tell random listeners to come on the show and share their experience. A lot of people like it. Hey, she's invited me to her podcast to come and share. So a lot of people are excited about that. So I get them a lot of times. They come, they share their experience. So what was your experience about listening to the podcast? But that's not the only question I ask them. So I also ask them other things, but I chip that in. That is my feedback. That helps me know, okay, are people listening? What kind of episode do they like? And all of that. So that's one. Now, I know a lot of times we are always talking about monetization. But I will say this, before you think of monetizing, nobody's going to pay you if they don't see value. Nobody's going to pay you. So the first thing I always say to people is build a platform that is of value. Let your channel, today, I can tell you that I have episodes. Like if you go to my channel, you'll be amazed. I have worked for weeks, for years now, building that channel. So if I go to any brand and say, okay, these thousands of people listening to me from 56 countries of the world, I can promote your brand, or sorry, I can promote your product on my show this week. I can even craft a message around that product. This is what it's going to cost you. The first thing they will likely ask me is send me your podcast channel link. That's the first thing. Why would they do that? Because they want to know if is it 5 episodes that I'm using to disturb them like this, or do I have episodes already? So when they go to the channel and see that I have over 50 episodes or over 60 episodes, oh, they will listen to me. They will. And to even take it further, I can say, okay, because I host on a platform that gives me detailed analytics. When I mean detailed, I know the city that people listen to my podcast on, not just the country. I know the city. Like I know that in people don't just listen in Nigeria, they listen in Lagos, they listen in Kano, they listen in Port Harcourt. I know to that detail. I know where they listen. I know that more people listen on phone than on laptop. So I have that detail. I can say I have maybe 10,000 people listening to my podcast from Lagos. Your brand is majorly based in Lagos. If you advertise on my podcast, then you are sure that this number of people can listen to can hear about your brand and your product in Lagos. The reason I can say that is because I have built that brand. I have built that channel. So the first way to monetize your podcast is to build the channel that will be monetizable. Okay? Build the channel that can be monetized. It's not every podcast channel that can be monetized. Build the channel, first of all. Build it. Take your time. Be very strategic about the people you bring on. Be very strategic about the conversations you have. Be very strategic about the topics that you share. These things will go a long way when you want to monetize. So build a platform, first of all, that is valuable, that people want to pay for their products to be on your channel. Okay. So that is one way to monetize. Now, the next thing about monetizing your podcast, and one of the easiest way to monetize your podcast, is through affiliate program. I'm going to explain that through affiliate program. Now, for instance, if I talked about health, for instance. So if you have a podcast that deals on health and you have an affiliate program or a product, someone's product that you can sell for a commission, that's what affiliate marketing is. You sell someone's product and they pay you a commission for it. Okay. So if you have a product, for instance, that deals that is on maybe fitness, how to lose a weight in 30 days, for instance, and your podcast is on health, all you need to do is craft a message about weight loss. Since your podcast is already on health, craft a message that is centered around weight loss. Bring on a guest that can speak to that. At the end of that, you tell people, this episode that you listened to has been of value, I am sure. But if you want more, if you want a product that can even challenge you more beyond what you have listened, click on the link below and get the product. Okay? Not everybody that listens to that podcast is going to buy, but I can assure you, most people that listen to the podcast and got value want to know more about the product you're talking about. And if they buy from that product, you get a commission. That's one way to monetize your podcast. So affiliate programs and the reason is the easiest way is because you don't necessarily need to build a channel so much to be able to monetize through affiliate programs. As long as you have a lot of few people listening to you, it now depends on how you pass the message to them. So don't go and from the word go, you're telling them selling, buy. No, just subtly add it to your, your episode and people will buy. So affiliate program is one way to monetize. Another way to monetize is through sponsorship and ads. Like I mentioned earlier, you have a channel, you built it, you can meet brands. Don't wait for brands to come to you. Meet up with brands and tell them, okay, my name is Ume Collins. I am the host of DIC Africa, and my podcast has garnered 50,000 listeners, and that and that and that. We are in this and this and this country of the world. If you promote on our podcast, this and this and this people will definitely listen to you this week, and this is what it will cost you. Then you can give them, budget, and I mean your sponsorship ads and ad budget, and if they have the money, they pay you. So sponsorship is one way. Now another way is through courses. You can create a course, you can write a book, you can even do personal coaching. A lot of people come to me, Ozzy, please, I want to launch a podcast. What will you do? What will help me? Help me. I say, okay, my time is very precious. So my time is very precious. If you want a personal me and you doing it, testing all the apps and all of that, I'll take a small fee from you. It won't cost you much, but it will cost you something. If not, you can just go to Rooted and Robust podcast page and just follow up the page. I share things about podcasts there. You can learn from there. But if you want my time, you pay for it. That's one way to monetize. And people will say, this girl, she's not so she's doing every week. She has the podcast. Let me pay her. No, people pay and I put them through. Or you can just create a course where you do a detailed explanation of everything, all the software, how to even convert, how to upload, how to do all those things. You do a detailed course and you sell it and people will buy, and then you can write a book. My coach has a book on podcasting. In fact, the title of her book is Podcasting with a Difference. That's the title of her book, all right? So she has a book. So you can write a book and people will buy, all right? Podcasting is still relatively new in Africa. It's not like the US where it's been there for many years. For this part of the world, it's still relatively new. So a lot of people will still ask you, what is podcast? So the market is still very virgin. It's still a very green market. So you can always get people that want to hear about podcasting. Okay. So now another way to monetize your podcast is through supports and donation. I mean, if you're sharing value, it's not bad to say, if you love what we are doing, please support our show. Now, for some host platform like the platform that I use, they have monetization. What is it called? They have monetization policies within the podcast channel. I mean, within the host platform. So, for instance, if you have I think it's 25 episodes and your podcast is over 30 minutes, there are some rules you have to meet, Sha. Once you meet that, then they can begin to place ads on your podcast. When they place ads on your podcast, then whatever those ads convert, you get a commission for it. So some platforms have that, some don't. I know that Spotify for podcasters, they don't have any monetization for Africa at all. If you're in this part of the world, third world, they do nothing for you. So but there are so many platforms that has monetization, so it's left for you to check out these platforms. The reason I usually don't talk about Buzzsprout that much is because it's paid. A lot of people don't, a lot of people can't afford the $12 every month thing. But if you can, it's very good. It's an amazing platform. I've been using it for almost 2 years now, and it's been amazing. All right. So that is it about podcast monetization. Now, another thing apart from that is there is something called Buy Me a Coffee. Is a donation sort of thing. And apart from PayPal and Patreon and all of that, this one is accessible to us down here. So you can go to Buy Me a Coffee and create a page. Then when you host your platform, you can always, when you share your link and your episode, you can always say support. You can even change it to Buy Me Zobo if you don't want coffee, because I mean coffee is not a very common thing with us. You can say buy me Zobo, buy me Coke, buy me something that people can relate with. And they can even buy you maybe it's $5, $10, $15, something that is accessible to a lot of people. So that is another way to monetize. Now, another way to monetize your podcast channel is to create exclusive content. For instance, maybe at DIC Africa, you have the episode that is for everybody. So that episode, anybody can listen, you can share it with everybody. But then you have the ones that this one is, I am bringing a guest that it took me hard work to bring this person. So if you want to hear this person on my channel, you will pay. Okay. Now, before you can do that, you must have created value that people can say, if Collins is bringing somebody and is charging money, that person must be, no, I'm going to pay. You'll get. So that is another way. I know a lot of people that, in fact, the only thing they do is premium content. That's the only thing they do. If they don't have a guest that is that standard, they don't release episodes. I know people like that. Okay, so that is another way to monetize your channel. So it's actually being creative about it. But no matter how you want to go about it, the standard, the basics, the foundation for all of these things is to grow the channel that can give you the money. Okay, so I don't know. I think this is just in a nutshell what starting and growing and monetizing your podcast is about. So I think if you ask me questions, that will help me channel the conversations proper. So yeah, that's it. Thank you. Collins, over to you.
Wow. Ma'am, you are well loaded. Igbo we say, Idi well loaded. Wow, you're so loaded,
That song,
ma'am.
I
Thank you
remember
so
that
much.
song.
Ine
I
manyi
tell
ga
you.
hụ Ngozi Chukwu.
I
And I can
remember
see the
that
blessings
song.
of God around you. Wow,
Have you?
wow. Like you just like when you bake your bread, you're about to slice it, you bring the knife or the whatever they call this thing. So this is how this class is. So you're now chopping everything one by one, straight, straight. You finish everything to the end.
Yeah,
Wow, thank you so much.
I know, right?
Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you. Now, you were mentioning something. I don't know if it's software. You said is it
Yeah,
iCloud or SoundCloud? What is it called?
Cloud
Is it
Convert.
iCloud or
That's
SoundCloud?
no, Cloud
Okay, Cloud
Convert.
Convert.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
because
the
when
one
I
that
heard
helps
cloud,
you
I was
convert.
thinking, okay, okay.
No,
When
the
I heard
name
cloud, I was
actually is
thinking,
Cloud Convert.
okay. So this cloud convert is it for iOS user or for Android user or is it for everybody?
Anybody. Now, what they do is they are like the middleman between one audio format and another. So whatever format you want to convert your audio to, maybe maybe I don't know the format that StreamYard. I don't know if StreamYard has audio. I think it's just video. But if they have audio, they can convert it to any audio format. So, but if you want to move it to
Yeah.
your host platform, for instance, your most host, in fact, all host platforms either take MP3 or WAV. So if, for instance, like Zoom does not convert to MP3, they don't convert to WAV, they convert to MA4, either MA4 or M4A, I can't remember. So you will need to convert that audio file to use it, to even edit it at all. So that's what Cloud Convert does for you. Now, there is another software I forgot to mention. Thank you for reminding me for asking that question. It's called Auphonic, Auphonic. What it does for you is that it cleans your sound. It cleans your sound. So maybe you've edited, and when you edited, there was a little bit of background noise and all of that. So you can go to that software and clean it up. So, well, you may need to watch a little bit of YouTube videos to be able to use that platform well. But if you can, I use it all the time. It does amazing work. Sometimes when I record episodes and my guest is like, what are we going to do to this audio? There's so much noise. I'm so sorry. So I'll say, don't worry. I'll work on it. Don't worry. Now, when I share the link with them, how did you do it? Oh my God, it's so clear, it's so clean, it's so. So that is one of the software that helped me do that. So apart from, I do a thorough edit because I edit my episodes myself. I do thorough editing, but sometimes you can still finish editing and you still be hearing some background noise. So I do the cleanup in Cloud Converts. So I mean, sorry, Alphonic for audio cleaning. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. When it comes to podcasting, is this podcasting
Yeah.
for only those who have smartphone, or for only for those who have laptop, or anybody can use any gadget like phone, smartphone, or laptop and get started?
Okay, so for starters, that's why I mentioned the app called Audio Lab. Is for phone. It's used on the phone only. So you can start on your phone, really. But this is what I tell people. When you are starting a podcast, what is your end goal? Right? Are you podcasting for fun? Do you just want to podcast for fun? You just want to share. Maybe you're a football fan. You just want to every week. You just want to share what Premier League and La Liga is doing. So you just want to share it for fun. If that's your goal, then you can do that with your phone. But if you are working towards monetization, towards building a business from this, then you need to think big. Okay. Yes, you can start with your phone. Of course, you can record with your phone. You can even record for just with phone, but it's not going to give you the same result that laptop is going to give you. The reason is, if you're going to record with your phone, you cannot record on Zoom with phone. You have to use a laptop to do that. Now, if you're doing phone conversation, maybe what you do is to use maybe Telegram and all of that. But editing it may not come out as good and as beautiful, as perfect as someone that is using a laptop. You see the difference. So, but then you can use a phone to record. That's why I talked about Audio Lab, because Audio Lab is one app that I know that allows you to do quick edits on the phone. It's better than a lot of apps out there. It's the one I recommend if you're on the phone. If not, I will always recommend use a laptop. It gives you better results.
Wow, thank you for that answer. I love the one part you mentioned about monetization. You said there are people that bring just premium speakers. I say yes, you're talking about covers. I bring premium speakers. Example is
Yeah, of
you.
course,
I bring
of
premium
course.
speakers.
Yeah,
So
of
I do a
course,
premium speakers,
definitely.
and they sell their replace. Like now, as you are watching this video now, anybody that's watching can watch it for free. I can say that I'm going to lock it.
Yeah,
Like there are people that I've interviewed, and I say, this thing is people is not on YouTube. Oh. You will not see anybody that will teach you
exactly.
like this. I will love the video. I'll
Exactly.
tell you, you will pay for this one. If the investor
Yeah,
conference, you will not find it on video. I'm on YouTube. Everything is for
exactly.
sale.
So exactly. So people make money. In fact, that some people they don't even do any other thing on their podcast. That's the only thing they make money from. Premium content, exclusive content. They just give you snippets, like just few, so that you know that they do this thing.
They
Just
did it,
few like
yeah.
that, so that you will know
Exactly,
that I'm a
exactly.
podcaster. Let me just give you 5 or 6. But if you want
Uh-huh.
to know
Just
what
like
they
the soya
actually
man, they'll
do
give you the
exactly
soya first
to
to catch your
test,
attention.
exactly, they'll give you small to test. Now you now buy, you stay there and now buy like 1 million naira home. That's exactly what they do. So yeah, a lot of people make money from that exclusive contents, really.
To be sincere, there's no video that I've watched on YouTube that said this in the way you said it. They don't share this information. Some people are very selfish about it. They don't want people to know what they are doing. People are like that.
Actually, the truth
So
is,
it's their knowledge. They decide to sell it.
yeah,
It's their choice.
exactly. That, like I told you, if everything I've shared now, it feels like she said a lot of things. When you begin to do it, you like, what did she say again? Hey, what did she say? What did she say? Was the play? What did you even say ahead? That's when I now say, okay, this is the time that you pay. Everything that you've heard, everything that I've shared, they are value and I've given you for free. But when you now come to that one-on-one inner coaching, lead me, guide me step by step, I tell you, this one is content.
Hold my hands, hold my hands, hold my
Hold my
hands. I'm
hand, show
trying
me
to
the
do it.
way,
It's
cut
not
soap
working.
for
Please, how
me.
can I go again?
Exactly. When it comes to cutting the soap, all those ones,
Eh,
that's
because I've cost so much soap, yeah.
I know,
So I
right?
said, reversion conference, I'm not going to make it free. We have about 100, I couldn't remember the number now, that registered. But not all of them
Oh,
attended. So it's like that. I said, if you know that you want to watch this, you pay 10,000 naira. I imagine if I now just bring reversion conference and DIC podcast together and I say, pay me 10,000, you tell me you will not pay. Somebody spoke about traveling. Those traveling is something he wrote on his book. Everything about traveling. You have traveled to about 50 something countries. He shared everything, like everything,
you see?
everything. How he traveled, low budget, on low budget, and how he did everything. He shared everything. And someone do not tell me I will not pay 10,000 naira. You see, it will
What
take
is
you time
10,000?
to go and get the knowledge. So for me, my
Before
very
you
time, I
travel
decided
to
to say,
all these
okay,
countries.
it will take you time. So me, I decided to say,
Yeah.
okay, because of today is my birthday, 25,000, which is a month. And I can still decide to give you free. Like my volunteer,
Yeah.
people that volunteer for my program, I said, okay, I'll give you so amount. I said so.
Yeah.
So that is it. Okay, the next
Yeah.
question is this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can.
Okay, you spoke about okay, now let's talk about microphone. You know you use laptop for your
Okay.
podcast, right? You use laptop
Yeah, I
for
didn't talk
podcast.
about
So is it that
equipment.
you use
Thank you for
earphone?
saying that.
So what do you use? How do you make your voice? 'Cause I've listened to your podcast, but not I've not heard it complete. Where I've not gone to Google or any place, just Instagram, where I watch those short snippets. Like, oh wow, fantastic
Yeah.
voice. So let's know about the microphone. What is the right microphone to use? Just if you are using laptop.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So because a lot of people are on budget, um, there is a microphone called Blue Yeti. Those things are expensive. Because you are on budget, you can use this. I don't know. Everybody can see me. You can use this. Now, this is what gives you, I mean, your normal head. What you look for is your earpiece, that most earpiece has inbuilt mic. Like if you buy an earpiece, I think it's Oraimo. They have inbuilt mic. So if you don't have the so much money, look for earpiece that has inbuilt mic. It works perfectly. Now, as you grow and progress, you can begin to buy the whole podcast mic, the whole all those gadgets and all of that. All right. So, but you can start with this. You can start with this. All right. Now, what gives you clear sound in podcasting? Because truthfully, sound is everything for podcast. Sound is everything because it's audio. People can be seeing our fine faces and not bother so much about the voice and how we sounded. They just want to see your fine face. That can work with video, but that will not work with audio. So sound is the only thing they hear. So you must give them a clear and crisp sound. So what will help you? The first thing you need to do when recording your podcast is to make sure you stay in a quiet environment. It doesn't matter the podcast equipment or mic you use. If you stay in a noisy place, it will show, it will reflect, right? So a quiet environment gives you a beautiful sound. So if you can stay in a quiet environment and your guests can also do that for you, they stay in a quiet environment, you discover that you've solved 60 to 70 or 80% of your sound issues. So then you can now talk about maybe your microphone, your setup, and all of that. So, yes, for sound, environment is key. So, stay in a quiet place. And then you can always start with this. You can use your iPods, your headsets, and all of that. But make sure it has inbuilt mic. That's it. So, now, if it's just you, you can buy what we call boya mic. You know that some people call it lapel mic. You know that one you can pin to the clothes. But that will not work if you are interviewing someone. That works if it's just you talking. So if it's a solo conversation you're having, you can use that one. But if it's you where you have to listen and also speak, then you can do with this. It works.
Wow, wow. So anybody on low budget can actually get this mic. This my
Now,
Oremo
the beautiful thing about podcast, yeah, the beautiful thing about podcast
okay,
is
before you continue, this my
it,
Oremo earpiece. I bought it for about 1,000 naira, and it's working well.
exactly, and it's working well. Exactly, that's the thing. The beautiful thing about podcast is it brings those over gadget that you have to do with YouTube. It crashes it down. You don't need to worry about. I don't have a good background. My house is not fine. Nobody's seeing your face. I don't have lights. I don't have ring lights. I don't have money to buy. Nobody's seeing your face. I don't have good. My clothes are not fine. I don't have. Nobody's seeing your face and see. Go and share your message. I don't have gadget. I don't have camera. Nobody is seeing your face. Go and share your message. You get. So that's the good thing about podcast. It takes away those hurdles that video has. You need to have a clear background. You need to dress well. You need to do this and do that and all of that. So with podcast, you don't need to do all of that. So you can share your message on a low budget, right?
All right, thank you. Now let's talk about the message. There are people who already know what they are passionate about. I love watching football. Let
Yeah.
me start football podcast. And there are some they are not passionate. In fact, they don't even know their passion. So you don't have a niche. Maybe they don't have clarity. So let's talk about how do one find or know their message to
Okay.
get started.
So there are so many things. I mean, sometimes we like a lot of things. I like football. I don't know. Maybe I recently stopped talking so much about football on Facebook. Before
I'm
now,
surprised. I could remember you mentioned what did you call this La Liga? And I was like, we mean that no,
oh, you
you
don't
know
know.
watch ball, but
Oh,
how
people
did
that
you
know
know?
me so well. People that know me so well, they know I can argue Premier League with you like every day. I know football that well. So I know football that much. I can tell you, as in, don't even let me go on what is going on in football. So that's how much I know football. And that's how much I enjoy watching football, really. But I am not, my podcast is not about football because first of all, who do you want to speak to? It's not necessarily what I like now. If it's about what I like, I will be arguing football every week now. If it's that way, I won't even be looking for guests. Every week I will have people that want to argue football. What did Man City play? What did Arsenal play? What did Chelsea and Liverpool? What is going on there? You understand? But the question is, who do I want to reach? That is what is guiding me. Who do I want to? It's not about what I like now. It's not about you. Your message is not really about you. The reinvention conference we did wasn't about you. It was about the people you were reaching. And that is why you were carefully bringing the guests that will reach these people. So it wasn't about me. It's not really about you. Nobody cares about what you think. It's about the thing you have, the message you want to reach, and the people that have this message. That is what will guide you. So if your message is about, for instance, you've always seen every time people get married, they have issues in their first year, and you're wondering, I wish I can help newly married people stay and cross that first year barrier that people always have in their marriage. That is one thing that is always bothering you, is always bothering you. But it's not something you want to talk about. It's not like it's not about you. I mean, maybe you're not even married, or maybe you've been married for like maybe 10 years. So it's not your issue. But you see this as a problem and you wish that this can be addressed. You can start a show that brings people on and share a message that reach to these people. You see that? So it's not really about I like this thing or I don't like this thing. It's about there is a problem you see and you desire that this problem be solved. For instance, there is a problem I see in young people. I see young people take personal development slightly. They take it as something that is not important. Everybody wants to make money, so they are pursuing money,
It's
money, money,
true. It's true.
right?
Let me talk,
So,
chef. I could remember. Let me just talk here. It's true. Me, I'm a personal development trainer. When somebody
yeah,
will see me buy a book, I bought a book of 25,000. One book. They're like, say this book will give you money. How much you want give me?
exactly.
Why I go read that?
You see,
Why you go buy the book for?
for
Imagine.
25,000. You know what 25,000 they buy from me? So I see that as a problem, and I see it happen every day. So I want this issue, I want as many people that I can reach with the message of personal development. I will say to them, read first. The 25 naira book that you are going to buy and read will make so much impact in your life than the 1 million you think you have at 17-year-old. At 17-year-old, your problem should be to be reading, not to be dragging 1 million naira with anybody. That is not your problem. Yes, it's good to teach people about money early in life, but that is there is time for everything. That should not be your focus at certain age. So I see that as an issue, and I felt, no, 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 no. I want this. I want to talk about this. So I started a podcast that is centered on telling people foundations, you know why you should talk about reciprocity, why you should talk about emotional intelligence, why you should talk about communication, why these are the conversations I'm having on this podcast. And I also see people get into problems because they don't know how to start out in their career. So you get into a corporate world and you are talking anyhow, you're making mistakes. So I said, no, my podcast is also going to talk about people starting out in their careers. So it is personal and career development. Now, I am not, in fact, I am older than my target audience. I am way older than the people that I'm reaching, right? But I have seen this as a problem in this age bracket, and I want to reach these people. Okay. So if I want to talk about things that are probably people of my age, I won't be talking about these things, right? So you see, so when you are talking about your message, first of all, is there a problem you have identified in your society? If you have a problem identified, then you can that is your message, that is it there, that is your need, that is where you center your message on. So first of all, look out for issues within there are so many issues, my brother.
Your
So look
burden,
out for
your
issues within the
problem.
society, then craft a message that targets and solves. You can't solve every issue, that's why I say look, at least find one. The issues are enormous, but at least find something within your circle or environment that your podcast message can address. As long as it's addressing a problem, then you already have a niche there. You have a niche there.
Wow, wow. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Wow. Now that you can argue so much about football, hope you know how to play. Can dribble like Messi or
I
see
don't know how to play.
Ronaldo.
Oh. I don't know how to play, but I can talk about it. I don't. I've never kicked a football in my life. I don't know how to play football.
Jesus, Jesus, I can't believe this.
I don't know how
For
to
how long have you been
play.
watching ball? Did you start from your childhood?
I no, well, it wasn't actually childhood. Actually, liking football, I think it was secondary school. If I tell you the way I entered about football, it's actually very funny. I think it was secondary school or so. So there's this guy in my class. I think he was a Manchester United fan or so. So that period, Chelsea were doing so well. So they were always teasing him, always teasing him. So he was always alone in the class. Every time they come back, they will always laugh at him in class. So I felt like I wanted to be like, okay, I will support you. That was how my football. I've never. In fact, at the time I started, I knew nothing about football. I didn't even know the color of the jersey of the club. I just know that this guy that they're always talking ill about, they're always making jest of him. He supports Man U. Myself, I started talking about we are Man U, we are Man U. So in class, I think that was just two or so. So in class, when they're talking about Chelsea fans will be talking about him and laughing at him. Me, I will support him and say, leave us, we are Man U, we are Man U. That was how my football started. So I think years later, I think it was, I can't even remember then, but I started just picking interest in the whole football thing. And I discovered I even liked the Man U self as a club. So that was how the whole interest thing started. But then, of course, then when I got into senior secondary school, it was football. Then when I finished, by the time I got into university, oh God, I was, I don't know how to play. I was a grandmaster. There's this thing that happened during my service year, really. I used to follow guys, the people I served with. I used to follow them to viewing centers. People were like, my other ladies will be wondering, why do you follow men to go and watch football? What is it about this football thing? I'm like, I enjoy it. I like it. And guys, they like it. Whenever I come around, I'm like, hey, let's go and watch football. All of them will gather. They'll buy me things just to encourage me and make me not go back. I will follow them. We'll go to viewing center. We'll be screaming. I'll be shouting. I'll be, all those things that we do at bantering each other. So I make a lot of friends because I love football, I have made tons of friends, especially guys, tons of them, because I talk about football and I know football well. So, but then it's just one of those things that I like really. I kind of grew to love football. I didn't know why, but it was one sport I grew to love really. And
Wow, 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 wow. I just mentioned that you're somebody that would like fighting for people because you were trying to support that guy. You just have
yeah,
some spirit. You love fighting
it
for
just
people. You
feels
just want
like,
to make
I
them.
mean, people should not be intimidated because they don't have support system. It's just something that doesn't sit well with me. So if I can't do anything now, is either I'm angry or I just somehow I don't like it. If I can do something about it, definitely I will. If I can't, I'll just be boiling inside, and that's all.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
I completely understand. Just like me. That's why I am the success soldier. We are not here for play. We are here
yeah,
for war. Just like I
yeah,
say, like David said, he said, I am for peace. But when I speak, they are for war.
yeah, for war, brother. Yeah.
That is it. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Like even me myself, I've learned here, I've learned a lot. Now the next question is this. You spoke about advertising on this platform. So I was like, okay, we know of Facebook advertising, YouTube advertising, Google advertising. Do this platform like Spotify and Apple Play or what is called Apple Podcast and the rest? Do they advertise on their own platform?
Okay, so this is what happens with podcasts and advertisement. If you listen to radio, right? If you listen to radio shows, you hear when they take a break and just play in roll ads, right? Or maybe it's beginning of a show, an ad plays, then they continue the conversation between an ad plays at the end, an ad plays. That's what the kind of ad I mean. It's not like the Facebook and Google or or YouTube kind of advertising. Is the advert that you do within your show. So that's why I said, for instance,
Okay.
you can meet a brand. I tried this out sometime last year. So I wanted to talk on health related issues. So I wanted to do an episode on health. So I met this health company, health firm. I saw them on Twitter. They are called Health Tracker. Yes, I saw them on Twitter. So I sent them a DM. I said, okay, so I want to partner with you. I have a podcast, and I want to partner with you on this health episode. So can you give me an in-house doctor of yours? So we do an episode together. What I want in return is that you share it on your platform. You have a large following. What I will do for you is that I'm going to mention your company within the episode. I'm going to talk about it so that people with that listing can check you out and then connect with you. So they agreed. And they sent me a doctor. So after back and forth emails and all of that, they sent me a doctor. We talked on how to care for your kidney. That was the episode that we talked on. In fact, whenever I posted that episode, I always said in partnership with Health Tracker. You get so that is one way. So, for instance, if they had a product and I say, okay, I have this number of listeners, I want to craft a message that helps people buy this your product. So, can I get a link that whenever anybody buys from this link, you give me a commission? That's affiliates, right? So, within the episode, I can say, okay, the episode we are talking about today is the benefits of drinking water. And if I'm just trying to get something off my head. And when we talk about water, some people get water from sources that are not so pure. That is why today I'm introducing you to head track, or maybe let me use Collins to Mace table water. When you talk about Collins to Mace table water, it is this and that and that. It has alkaline, it has this one, it has that one. Within that message, I have talked about the benefits of water, talked about why you should drink water, and now I'm telling you the kind of water you should take. So the link below takes you directly to Collins Sume's store where you can book for this beautiful water that will do this and that for you. So click on the link below and purchase your water. That kind of a thing. So I have a unique link. So what my goal now is to send traffic to that link. So as many people that buy that water from that link, I get a commission. So that's one way. That could be through affiliate. Another thing is I can tell them, okay, if I get 1,000 people to download this episode that your product is talked about on, you will pay me maybe 10,000 naira, right? You pay me 10,000. How I get the people is not your problem. All you want to do is at the end of the day, I show you the statistics and the back end that says this particular episode, 10,000 people or 1,000 people listened. My money, So that's how to do it. So, but like I said, you can't do all of that if you don't have people need to see a channel that provide such value before they can have that conversation with you. Even I remember when I reached out to Health Tracker, the first thing they said is send me your link. That was the first thing before we even talked about email or anything. So I sent them the link. I'm sure they went through it. I'm sure they even looked at everywhere my name appeared. Maybe they followed me on Facebook, Instagram, just to make sure that I'm not a scam or something like that. So when they got back to me, I knew they were convinced. Okay, so that's how. So the adverts, slot, the advertisement with podcast is slightly different from the usual running ads and all of that. So it's podcast is more personalized. So it is you now in liaising with the brand and knowing how to craft your message around a particular product and knowing how to sell it to your audience so they can buy that product from you. So that's how that works.
Wow,
All right.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, you actually sounded like a prophetess. Actually, maybe not now, maybe not
Prophetess,
today,
really?
but tomorrow I'll be launching UCP water. So,
Wow.
you get the point?
Are you serious?
UCP water will
Wow.
be coming soon. So
Abio.
maybe not now, maybe not today, but tomorrow is sure.
Soon,
UCP water will be
soon.
there. That's
Yeah.
why I said it sounded like a prophetess. You already said it as it should be.
Abio.
Wow.
Yes, now.
Wow. So now I understand the advert is about you is broker your voice. It's about
Yeah.
putting money to send any robot to reach out to this person in Ghana or in Togo. It's just your voice, wherever your audience are, people that listen to you get to listen to that advert
And you know
concerning any brand.
the thing with podcast adverts is, for instance, if I put up an episode now, that episode is there forever until I take it down. So that episode with Head Tracker, whenever anybody listens to that episode, they will go and check out Head Tracker anywhere they are. You see, so that's why if you have built that channel, that is also a selling point for you. You can tell this person this episode will always be here. I will always send customers your way. So you need to pay me well because I'm always sending people your way. Okay. So I'm not planning to take down any of my episodes tomorrow. So as long as that episode is up, as long as is on air, people will find their way. It's not like
Yes, and
Facebook
it's
ads
relevant.
that has yeah, it's not like Facebook ad that has a time limit. Maybe after 1 week it's over. No, that one is always there because that episode is embedded in the episode. It's not different. It's always there. So it's a good selling point for you if you're thinking of that.
Wow, thank you, thank you. We've done 1 hour, 13 minutes, 10 seconds. Wow.
I can talk to you tomorrow if it's that one.
This shows that you are just like the fish that's inside the ocean. You always
I
have
can
strength
talk.
there. Nothing can beat you there. This is your
Truth
field.
is, I sweat a lot, so I'm always with my hanky. As long as I have this and I have water, we can do this till tomorrow, sir. It's you I
It
pity.
is finished.
I
Thank
leave it
you,
to
thank
you.
you, thank you, thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
I love you. Thank you for coming to the IC African podcast. Thank you.
Thank you
I
for
love you. We've
having
come to an
me.
end. But before you go, I want you to okay, to ask what is the last word for us before you leave this live
Okay,
video.
DIC Africa. Thank you guys for having me. And one thing I always say everywhere I go is you are an amazing person. Don't take yourself for granted. Every single thing you are going to do in life, every single person you are going to approach, every single thing that is going to do or happen around you, you are the most important person in the equation. Without you, nothing works. So don't take yourself for granted and always be uniquely you. All right. So, and anyone that's going to listen, please keep listening to DIC Africa and keep supporting Collins to me. All right. Thank you, everyone. I did promise I'm going to send a link. Collins, please remind me. I did promise I'm going to share a link with you for anybody that wants to
Yeah, and I'll
build.
post it on my Facebook, on the WhatsApp.
Yes, anybody that wants to
Yeah.
build an email list. You can start with the free plan, totally free. If you have a large following, then you can migrate to the paid plan. But if not, start with the free plan. There are amazing things. Start. You can build your blog. And sorry, I know we are wrapping up. Let me also say this quickly. Most email marketing platform does not allow you um, use your custom domain on the free plan, but this one allows you. So even on the free plan, you can use your, maybe you have Colin at sorry colinsume.com. If you have your custom domain like that, you can use it on the free plan and it works perfectly. Okay, so I'm going to share the link with you so you can share it with everybody. It's free. So that's it,
Okay,
guys.
this
Thank you so much for having me, Collins.
thank you. This thing feeding email is, well, for the podcaster, will you work with them on their phone? The platform you're talking of, can
Okay,
they be with
so
their phone?
you can navigate on your phone. You can. You can navigate on your phone, but like I always say, you cannot compare your efficiency on phone and laptop. System, it works on the phone, yes, it works, but by the time you're trying to turn your phone to landscape and turn it this way and turn it, you will get, you yourself will tell yourself the truth that is not working on the phone. Yes, they made it compatible with phone, but they also know that the best bet is a laptop, because you want to maybe create a landing page, you want to set up your sales funnel and all of that. You can't do that successfully with a phone. All right. So just get a laptop if you can. But if you don't have a laptop, well, you can use a phone. You can. It works on phone really. But efficiency and productivity, please use a laptop, please. I beg of you. Please.
Wow, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Ma'am Ozioma Anioji. Thank you for coming for the I Say Africa podcast, and
Thank
thank you
you
for
for
honoring
having
Ume
me.
Collins Ebube. I am just your boy. I am Ume Collins Ebube, the
On
success
this one,
soldier.
yeah, Oga. As long as DIC is concerned, you're the boss here. Thank you for having me, really. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
the
thank you,
invite.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now, bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, we come to an end of this session. Now that you have access to this video, share this video, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Invite your friends to watch this video with you if you're interested, or if they're interested to start their podcast. Just like she shared everything, the secret. You might not find kind of video on YouTube. Same person like her sharing information, quality information, premium information. This is privilege for you to watch this video. So there are some information that will change your life. It is privileged information that will change your life. Information that will change your life popular. Is not popular. Yeah, many are not popular. So it is privileged information that will change your life. Now that you have access to this information, use it, take action. That's how your life will be changed. Thank you and goodbye. I am the success soldier. By 7, I am having set Amazon on this program, the IC Africa podcast. Stay tuned and watch out. Bye.